Hi everyone, and welcome to this video about creating and using rubrics for assessment. My name is Carolyn McCrae, and I work as an Educational Development Fellow at the Center for Teaching and Learning at Queen's University. This video is intended to talk all about rubrics, about the rationale and the benefits of using a rubric in your course, what the different components of a rubric are, and how you might start building and using rubrics in OnQ, our learning management system here at Queen's. Let's get started. So what are rubrics? Rubrics are an assessment tool that are most frequently used to help describe an assignment and to assist with the grading process. Most often, rubrics will take on the form of a chart, and this chart will outline the specific criteria as well as the levels of achievement that students are expected to work towards in this particular assignment. Let's take a deeper look at each component of a typical rubric. On this slide, you'll see a sample rubric. And on this rubric, we've outlined 4 key areas of the rubric. Here we'll describe the terminology of each area and what each area is used for. The first area on the leftmost side of the rubric are called the assessment dimensions or criteria. And these are the different subcategories of what is being assessed in this particular assignment. So here the topics that I'm looking for are issues, context assumptions, hypothesis, and implications or recommendations. And these 4 criteria or assessment dimensions are the different elements that will be graded in this particular assignment. Next, at the top of the rubric outlined in orange are the levels of achievement. And here the levels have word descriptions, so not demonstrated, developing, accomplished, and advanced. But you might also see numerical levels, 1, 2, 3, 4, or grade levels, A, B, C, and D. Next, underneath the levels, we have scoring, which is outlined in brown. Here we have a different score for each of the different levels of accomplishment. You might also see scoring be integrated within each of the boxes below, outlined in purple, called our quality indicators or performance criteria. Here's the description of what each of the assessment dimensions will look like at each of the different levels of accomplishment. As you can imagine, this rubric can grow when we have more assessment dimensions and more levels. And there is a quality indicator or performance criteria description for each of these individual sections. What's important to note when you're looking at the quality indicators or performance criteria is how the language of each of these descriptions changes at the different levels of achievement. So for example, if we look at the assessment dimension of issues, we can notice how students who are in the developing category are only presenting issues, whereas students who are in the accomplished and advanced levels are explaining and critiquing issues. As we will see in a few slides when we talk about grading, understanding the differences and descriptions of each of these levels of achievement will be important when it comes to grading assignments and providing feedback to students on their work. So why are rubrics beneficial? For an instructor, rubrics are beneficial as they are a way to communicate to students how an assignment is being evaluated and the expectations of what students should present in their work. It's also an opportunity for instructors to describe each criteria and each level of achievement that they hope students can achieve in the assignment. For an instructor, rubrics provide a way to consistently and fairly grade work, whether they are grading it themselves or a teaching assistant is doing the grading. When rubrics are provided to students, they can provide clarity of assignment expectations and also some transparency in how any work has been graded. When feedback is also provided along with the rubric, it can give students a sense of what they might improve on for the next assignment. Lastly, rubrics can be an invaluable tool for your role as a teaching assistant. Having a well-designed rubric for each assignment can encourage fair and consistent marking, not only within the assignments you're marking, but also across a group of TAs. So what do I mean by ensuring consistency across TAs? Well, in many large courses, there will be a number of TAs, 5, 6, 10 TAs marking the same assignment, and it's important to ensure that each TA is using the rubric and assigning grades that are consistent across the same level of achievement. One way to ensure that all TAs are grading similarly is to calibrate the rubric. In this process, each TA individually first reads the assignment instructions that were given to students, reads the rubric, identifies any unfamiliar terms to ask questions and clarify, then reads a student's response or an assignment and identifies where they think that student would fit within those assessment dimensions and criteria. Score that student on each dimension of the rubric and provide what you think would be the overall score for that student. Once every TA has done this activity individually, you would come together as a group and compare judgments and see if there are any differences. Did some TAs score differently than others? And if so, why? Have a discussion about why you graded the student on each particular criteria level, and collectively come up with an agreement about what level of achievement that student should achieve. Once you've created those guidelines for your group of TAs, use those guidelines when marking all of the future assignments. The goal of this activity is to come up with a common score that all TAs can agree upon. When providing feedback to students, it's always great practice to think about our feedback as being timely, meaningful, and constructive. Timely in the sense that we provide students feedback early enough that they can make adaptations and change for future assignments. Meaningful in that the feedback targets specifics to the assignment and to what they need to improve upon, and constructive in that we highlight both strengths and ways that students can improve their work. Since many of us will be teaching assistants for online and remote courses this year, it's important to note that you can build, edit, and use rubrics right in OnCue. Check out the rubric section of the OnCue support site to learn more about how you can use rubrics in OnCue. The goal of this video was to introduce you to rubrics and how you might employ the use of rubrics within your course. Rubrics are a great tool for students to provide clarity on instructions, as well as a great tool for teaching assistants when it comes to grading. They provide transparency in the grading process and can help you provide quality feedback that students can use to improve on their assignments. A well-developed rubric can simplify and ensure consistent grading across TAs and across assignments. Rubrics can also be built into OnCue to be used to grade and provide feedback right in the learning management system. If you'd like to learn more about rubrics or have questions about building your own rubric, please reach out to us at the Centre for Teaching and Learning at ctl@queensu.ca.